who are the beneficiaries of our different organizations shall be impacted by all the knowledge that shall be shared and all the contacts and connections that shall be made here. And we thank you that as the conference goes on, your spirit of wisdom and knowledge guides all the discussions, and at the end of it, it shall redound to impact and community transformation. I pray, believing in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior.
Amen. Thank you very much for that very powerful prayer. We believe that God is going to lead us as we engage honorable district and municipal leaders, religious and cultural leaders, representatives from schools, sports leaders, partners, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to you all. On behalf of Swan Sports Club, it is my great honor and privilege to welcome you to this important community leaders engagement here in Entebbe as we work together to strengthen safeguarding and protect our children across Wakiso and beyond. We are truly grateful for your presence, your leadership, and your commitment to building safer communities in our beautiful country of Uganda. Today is not just another meeting. Today is about our children. Today is about our communities. Today is about the future we're shaping together. At Swan Sports Club, we believe sport is more than physical activity. Sport is a platform for values. Sport is a platform for mentorship. And sport is a platform for protection. That is why we are proud to work alongside partners like the Uganda Olympic Committee and Olympic Solidarity, together with Uganda Rugby Union, to promote safe sport and safe communities. Children move through many spaces every day, from home to school to sports grounds, faith spaces, and in our communities. If any of these spaces is unsafe, the child is unsafe. That is why safeguarding must belong to all of us. Not one institution, not one leader, not one sector. All of us working together. Over these days together, we're not just discussing problems. We are building solutions. We are strengthening leadership, strengthening safeguarding systems, strengthening reporting pathways, strengthening community action. Because every system we strengthen may protect one more child. At Swan Sports Club, we are committed to promoting safe sports environments, training coaches and leaders on safeguarding, using sport to teach respect and equality, supporting communities to protect children, and working with schools and leaders to strengthen referral systems. We believe sport must always be safe, inclusive, and protective. We want to thank community leaders for guiding our communities, religious leaders for shaping values, teachers for nurturing young minds, coaches for mentoring young people, and partners for believing in this mission. Without you, this work is not possible. We hope that by the end of this engagement, leaders will be more confident to respond to safeguarding concerns. Communities will be clearer on reporting pathways. Partnerships will be stronger. And most importantly, that our children will be safer. As we begin, I encourage all of us to speak openly, to share honestly, to listen actively, and to commit practically. because the conversations we have here can change lives outside this room. Once again, you are all most welcome. Thank you for choosing to stand for safeguarding. Thank you for choosing to stand for our children. Together, let us build safer schools. Together, let us build sports. Together, let us build safer communities. Thank you very much. And now, please allow me to welcome our partners, Uganda Olympic Committee, to join us and welcome us to this meeting. Joseph, you're most welcome.
Yes, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joseph Oluka. I work as an assistant administrator technical of the Uganda Olympic Committee. And I am very happy to be here with each one of us here in our different capacities, the head teachers, the teachers, the classroom teachers, our dear beloved religious leaders. What brings us here today is because we are combining efforts to say no to gender-based violence. You should be aware by now that at least 1 in 3 women has faced or will face or has been a victim or has been a survivor or has witnessed or has helped someone in regards to gender-based violent issues. We have issues that are unspoken, the men. 1 in 10 men is facing or will face and has also faced gender-based violence issues. But so bad, we only tend to focus on the other hand. We would want to thank Olympic Solidarity, our implementing partners, Swans Rugby Sports Club, Uganda Rugby Union, and in particular, Olympic Solidarity that manages the fund on behalf of the International Olympic Committee for having given us the resources to fight against gender-based violence. Thank you very much, and I know we will achieve a violent-free community, aware that this initiative starts with each one of us, in our homes, in our families, in our schools. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Joseph. Right now, please allow me to welcome our keynote speaker, Madam Joyce Nalubega. I am confident that most of you have interacted with her because she is the Principal Education Officer in Entebbe Municipality. She has a master's degree in Education Administration and Planning from the University of Uganda Christian University, right? Good. And she has a postgraduate diploma in Public Administration, still from the Uganda Christian University, and a Bachelor's of Education from Chambogo University. I can tell you that the CV is very big, so please, in the interest of time, because we are running behind schedule, I will allow her to further dive into the details of her education and how she has come to be the leader she is today, so she can inspire some young people like me. Yeah? Okay, so on that note, Madam Joyce, you're most welcome. I hope Jude, you're ready for her. I'll just take this away.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can use one.
Praise God. Praise God. Ladies and gentlemen, Happy New Year. Good morning, everyone. How are we today? As a teacher, we normally want to speak to a class that we know. And I'm not thinking it is an oversight. But before I do my introduction, we normally want to be sure of the congregation that we are addressing. I see a lay reader, you're most welcome, sir. And you stand, we welcome you. Can we see other religious leaders in the room? We welcome them by a hand clap. Welcome, pastors and religious leaders, brothers and sheikhs. I've been informed by the organizers that we have civil society organization. Do we have members of the same from the community of Entebbe? We have the teaching fraternity. I can see a big number of the head teachers and teachers of Entebbe. Can we stand for recognition? And we clap to welcome ourselves. Can we clap each other? Yeah, Happy New Year. As you clap, you're telling them Happy New Year. We have other leaders like me from Entebbe Municipal Council. My colleague, probation officer, Mama, you're most welcome. I'm trying to do a roll call as well, such that we know the people we are working with. I see other leaders in the categories of the youth, the people we are coming to fight for, have safer environments. Can we see the youth and the sportsmen and sportswomen in the room? Yes, you stand, we celebrate you, welcome. And then our partners from the Olympic Solidarity, our partners from girls, our partners from Uganda Olympic Committee, Swans Club, and our hosts. Please, we want also to thank you, and we appreciate you for inviting us and for organizing for us. Can we, the entire team, clap for them? Okay, done, beautiful. At this juncture, I hope we know each other. If there is any category that I have not introduced, please feel free to follow. Oh, the political leaders. Do we have any of the political leaders around? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we salute you and we welcome you. My name, as I've been introduced, is Joyce Nalubega. I am a teacher by profession, and I'm very excited to talk about my background and biography, because using my background and biography, I'm telling someone seated there that you can start small and be bigger. Like teachers sometimes want perpetual learning. You can start small and get bigger. I am a teacher, grade 3 certificate, but now, through the ladders, like she has told you, I am a principal education officer. By the grace of God, principal education officer is a head of education, manager of education in Entebbe Municipality. Please welcome me. I am humbled and I salute the organizers of this 3-day engagement for the opportunity given to all of us to come down and sit and address gender-based violence. It is a silent killer. It is real. People are facing it. People are going through ups and downs. And the few reports that we receive, the few reports that the probation officer receives are very few, but on ground, there are more issues happening. And who is responsible? You and me, right? Can we say who is responsible? You and me, right? So ladies and gentlemen, now my side, I will have to move. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good morning once again, and I've said, praise God. I am deeply honored to stand before you. Now with the camera. Now with the camera, I'm giving you more work. Okay, I'm deeply honored to stand before you today here in Entebbe. Entebbe, all of us, as we know, is a place of history, leadership, and national pride along the shores of Lake Victoria and in our beautiful nation of Uganda. So you'll position here. I'm seeing you now, shift here. Okay, today is not just another meeting, ladies and gentlemen. We are not here just for a meeting. Today is a moment of responsibility. Today is a moment of leadership. Today is a moment of change. This is why we give gratitude to God for giving us the opportunity to sit together, to have a dialogue on gender-based violence. Entebbe is known as a gateway to our nation. Visitors see Uganda through this community, but more importantly, our children see their future through the leadership we provide here. If we build safe schools and safe communities, we set an example to the entire country. If Entebbe is safe, the rest of the country here we want to mean will be safe. If we address issues of gender-based violence, the world over will learn from us, and the country over will learn from us. Being a gateway, and if other things are happening elsewhere, people of Entebbe must strive to see that our environment is safer. Then we shall scale down to the entire country to have safer environment. But we must be honest with ourselves. Gender-based violence is affecting our schools. This we have mentioned. Gender-based violence is affecting our homes. We are living with it, right? Gender-based violence is affecting our sports spaces, our communities. And when gender-based violence exists, where it exists, education suffers. Are we in agreement? Education suffers. And our children do not thrive. And our parents get issues because the schools are not safe and the learning environments are not safe. So our dreams are cut short. Our talent is lost. Our futures are stolen. Our future is stolen. Because these girls get into these spaces and the boys get into these spaces to thrive their future. But when they meet a stumbling block, their future is stolen. So, but today we are here choosing to have a different story. And why are we saying we want to have a different story? We are not powerless, are we? We have the power. Are we powerless? Can I listen? Are we powerless? We have the power to have a safer environment, starting with ourselves, changing our mindset, appreciating what we are, and appreciating the person that we live with, and appreciating that you need to be served good, and you need to serve good to the person that is next to you. So we are not powerless, we are leaders. Every person in this room holds an influence. Like I've mentioned, starting with you. Religious leaders speak to communities and communities listen. That we know very well. The head teachers act and schools change. Most of the learners and students go to schools. And when a school is intentional to fight gender-based violence, students will comply. If our school rules and regulations are intentional to address the challenges, students will follow suit. So this is why we say head teachers act and schools change, and when local leaders stand firm, the systems improve. Because we are the local leaders. In every village, there are 9 members of the LOC1, including a secretary for gender, right? Including a secretary for education, including a secretary for women affairs. I've not only seen a secretary for men affairs, but a secretary for gender cuts across, right? Men and women, right? So when our leaders stand firm, our systems improve, and when a coach mentors young people, transform. There are coaches in this room. What I like about sports, every sport has rules of the game. So if we are not violators of the rules of the game, then our students, then our learners, then the people that we mentor will always transform. And sport is generally, world over, is like I've mentioned, is the rule of the game. If you don't do the rule of the game, the whistle is next to you. You understand? I enjoyed the way I saw a red card for Uganda, goalkeeper, and shortly, he left the play field, because that is the rule of the game. And what is the mistake? Just you going past the line. Here in Uganda, they tell you, don't get off the line. You can get off the line so many times, and you don't get a red card. But while on the game, they do a mistake and you are goalkeeper and get off the line. The next is a red card. So serious. So we emphasize that all games and all sports the world over have rules and regulations, and these rules must be used to change the communities and the sportsmen and sportswomen, girls and boys, and there should not be any sort of domestic, gender-based violence like we talk about it. So our 3-day engagement here, ladies and gentlemen, is going to help us focus on leadership, sports, community action to end gender-based violence. We shall dig deep to understand what is gender-based violence. What are we supposed to do? What is this that we have to take up as our actions to end this virus, okay? Area number 2 we shall focus on in a 3-day engagement is safeguarding systems and reporting pathways. There are systems. If we give opportunity to Mama Probation here, this is her docket. She will be able to explain to all of us, and all of us know, what are these pathways? How do we report cases? What do we do to address the challenges that come along? So safeguarding systems and reporting pathways. Area number 3, we are here to emphasize and focus on is the sport, values, and community action. You are not just participants, I emphasize in this engagement. You are protectors of the next generation. Safeguarding begins with us. Safeguarding is not just a policy. Safeguarding is not just a workshop. Safeguarding is not just paper. We are not just in a workshop. We are not just on paper work, but we are here to speak how we speak to children, to address how we speak to children, how we respond when children report abuse. Sometimes children report abuse and we never take an action. Sometimes we see indicators of indiscipline and we never take an action as leaders. But through these engagements today, we should be able to understand how we address, how we challenge harmful cultural practices. We cannot run away from this. Our backgrounds home, where we came from, there are different cultural backgrounds that some of them still lead or raise or give ground for gender-based violence. We need to understand them and see how we are going to address the cultural practices, how we protect the most vulnerable. We said it's not just a workshop, but through the 3 days, we should be able to know, have action points on how to protect the most vulnerable. If a child is unsafe, we have failed as leaders. If you're a parent, don't forget that as well, because the biggest percentage here, when I look at us, we are parents. If you're a parent and your child in your house is unsafe, you have Damu and put it to yourself, I have failed. Mama, if your child fails, you have failed. Dad, if your child fails, Bambi, you have failed. There is no way you will stand before God on the day of judgment and your children, you bow with your 2 hands and 2 legs and 1 head and 2 eyes. Bakulemye Mukama n'agaana okusalira omuki. Because if I quote the Bible, buli eyeesitaze omwana omuto bamusibemu oluki olubengo mu bulago bamusuule mu nnyanja ebuki ebuziba. Mumanyi olubengo? A millstone, a big one. Do you know olubengo? Mama, mwakulirako mu kyalo nga nze, do you know olubengo? In your bulago, in your neck, and you're thrown in the deep water. Will you survive? So, if your children fail, we have failed. So don't fail, leader. As leaders, let's not fail. If survival is ignored, we have failed as a community. If a child is protected, we build the future. I like the motto of one of my schools, Entebbe Secondary School. Chairperson PTA, what did you say there? We build for the future. So as leaders, can we work like Entebbe SS slogan? We protect and we build for the future. So we are saying if a child is protected, we have built a future. Here in Entebbe and across Wakiso, we are pleased with the strong schools, active faith communities, and growing sports programs. The number you have seen here. If you look at other districts, you might not find the same. So can we clap them? Can we clap them? We are different in Wakiso and in Entebbe for that matter. That we have a consortium of all these organizations doing various sports and bringing us, all of us, together to see how we move sports in the future and how we protect gender-based violence through sports. So sports is not just play. Sport is a character building, sport is discipline, sport is respect, and sport is protection. How many of our children have earned a living through various sports? When I'm talking to my students and my teaching fraternity, I always tell them, we struggle with so many degrees and earn the least pay. A boy will only do rugby, will only do a sport, will only do an Olympic, will only do a run. They win a medal and they become billionaires. So why do we struggle with so many masters and so many PhDs? At the end of the tail, we are looking for money. So can we support our sports, our children? Can we support our sports girls and sports boys to thrive through this area such that they earn a better living than the struggles of the very many degrees that we earn for? So through sports, we teach boys positive masculinity. We build the confidence in girls, like the previous speaker said. We create safe mentorship spaces. We challenge harmful gender norms. And this is very important for us in our discussion today. Imagine every sports field also becoming a safe space for life lessons. Imagine every coach becoming a safeguarding champion. The future is possible starting now. The future is possible starting now. So we must be bold. We cannot end gender-based violence without engaging boys and men. Let's raise boys. We need the boys. We need them to work with us. And we want to raise boys who protect and they don't harm, who respect and they don't dominate, who lead and they lead but they do not intimidate. Sometimes when the boys are on the lead, they want to intimidate the girl. You understand? But through here today, we're saying we want boys who will lead us as girls. The Bible says, "Tuli bibiabichi, binafu, we are weak vessels." They lead us and they don't intimidate us. So we support, but we don't silence. And let us raise girls who will speak with confidence, who will stay in school, who will lead in sport and community, who will know their value and power. The woman was created with value and power. Once you have confidence, once you stay in school, once you lead in sport and community, we have value and power because God created us different. Can you clap us? Good. Now I'm representing the girls, okay? Like my colleague said. In too many cases, survivors remain silent because they fear stigma. We have said if they fear blame, they fear nothing will change. As leaders, we must build trust. Every community must know where to report. LOC, police, probation, education, senior humanity teacher, mentor, daddy, mommy, singer. These structures must all be operation. At the church, the youth leader, the mothers union, these structures of the communities must all be operation. So we need to know where to report, who to talk to, and what support exists. Because sometimes people suffer because they don't have information. No survivor should ever feel alone in Entebbe. No child should ever suffer in silence in Wakiso. To you leaders here today and those out there, commit to these three things. Like we have said, be a safeguarding champion. We are in agreement, are we right? Let's be safeguarding champions. We speak about child protection everywhere we lead. Number 2, make reporting visible. Ensure your institution and community has clear reporting pathways. Let them know. Let them not die in silence because they need assistance and they need to be protected. Challenge harmful norms. Leadership means speaking truth even when it is uncomfortable. The truth must be said. Because even one of the sayings says, truth is sour, is bitter. So let's try to say the truth. Even when we know it is bitter, even when we know it is uncomfortable. Let us build a community where every school is safe, every sports space is safe, every child is valued, every survivor is supported, and every leader takes responsibility. I'm about to wind up, ladies and gentlemen. Let Entebbe be known for not only beauty and history, okay, but for protection, leadership, and transformation. Leaders' history will not remember the meetings we have attended. History will remember the children we protected. History will remember the courage we showed. History will remember the future we built. The children today are watching us. Remember, I mentioned that all of us are parents. And I said on the day of judgment, you will not survive if your children are lost. These children are watching us every day. Whether they are 1 year, the way you do your things, your children are eyes on. And those of you who have studied children, child growth and development, it is a white, open, blank sheet. Whatever experience comes makes a mark on that brain, and it stays for life. You understand? So they are watching you. The way you come back late, and the way you come back drunk, and the way you talk in the house, and the, you know, and they are learning typically from us. I should be part of the group. From us. The Uganda of tomorrow depends on what we do today. Let's lead with courage. Let's lead with unity. Let's lead with a purpose. I must give a testimony of myself. I thank God, and please clap God. For me, whenever I stand, I want to lead with a purpose. I would rather be a snail and not an elephant. You know the difference between a snail and an elephant? Several snail away, there is always a trail wherever the snail passes. The big elephant will come with all of its weight. You will not see a footmark. Did you know that? You will not see a footmark. I don't know how God created this. So whether you're small in your own capacity, you leave legacy, and you can change, and you can defend, and we can improve gender-based violence, beginning with us, right? So one proverb here, it's an African proverb. One generation plants the trees, another one gets the shade. Did you ever sit under a tree? Did you plant that tree? A different generation planted the tree, and you are enjoying the shade. What does this mean? Promotes long-term care and responsibility for future generations. If you don't promote long-term, it's going to turn around, and even your own child will be affected by the same violence of the same community and will face the same pain. This is what it teaches us. Number 2, another African proverb, when there is no enemy within, the enemy outside cannot hurt you. Did you know that? So the enemies of gender-based violence are within they don't come from out. They never come from the people we relate with. I was following up Pamela Dosa, Dean of Students, UCU. May her soul rest in peace. The enemy was around her. You understand? The enemy never comes from far. So this proverb teaches us, encourage inner strength and community unity against violence. And lastly, ladies and gentlemen, this is the quotation of the Bible that I was referring to. It would be better that that person have a large millstone tied around their neck and they are drowned in the deep sea. Thank you very much for listening to me. May God bless you, and I wish you a very fruitful deliberation through this forum and good action points to defend and fight against gender-based violence. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to me. For God and my country, I declare the 3-day engagement open. I thank you and salute.
Wow, that was so powerful. Thank you so much, Madam Joyce. What could we have done without such a powerful voice in the house? It's amazing when you can relate with your own, right? It's very interesting. When I look around in the room, I think today we have gender imbalance, Imbalance, yeah? Oh, it's balanced. What do we have? We have more ladies. So the boat is not balancing. Oh, it's balanced. It's balanced. It's a good space to be in for me. I feel this is a safe space for me to be in because the boat is almost balancing. We're getting there. Thank you very much, our D.E.O, for that very powerful, impactful keynote. The key takeaways are very clear, that the enemy usually is from within, not without. Let's remember that the enemy is usually within. Nobody steals from what they don't know. They always steal from what they know. And before we move on to the next item on the agenda, I would like us to take a short break, health break for 5 minutes only. So 5 minutes health break, and then we are back for a panel discussion. Is that okay? Yes. Thank you very much. Think about what has been in the keynote, because as we head into the panel discussions, some of those issues are going to come up. I know most of us are asking, but girls, what is Girls Against Gender-Based Violence? What do they do? Well, this is a project that we put together as Swan Sports Club because we felt the need in our communities, especially coming from the lockdown, where we realized most of the girls and boys who were working with as a sports club were coming from the community and they were running away from violence. So they came to the club to find a safe space, to play, to release their energy, to release their anger, to release, to just have fun. And in so doing, we have come to a place where partners have come on board to say this is a big issue and we need to scale it. And so you can only, like Madam Joyce has said, you can only start at home. Entebbe is home for us. So Swan Sports Club is based in Entebbe. That's why we had to start at home and then scale it to Wakiso. And maybe I've just gotten phone calls from as far as Kabale, and they are saying, when is girls coming to Kabale? Mitiana, they are calling, when is girls coming to Kabale? And I was like, let us first do it slowly, because if we go all out, we may not manage. So that's why Entebbe, Wakiso, is actually privileged to be running this. And we are very happy with the support from Olympic Solidarity, because in everything you need support. And now we are happy that the Entebbe Municipal Council, through the D.E.O's office, is going to onboard us so that we continue to engage with our communities, especially the schools, because Emitie Mito need guidance. If we leave our Emitie Mito, it will be a disaster. They see us, they watch us, they learn from us, they observe each and everything we do. What is interesting is my 14-year-old today is sitting in the audience today, but it's only been because she's been observing what I do. She's been observing how I coach. She's been observing how I mentor. I have a 20-year-old also in the room who is now a young leader. Not my daughter, but because I am a coach, I've become mommy. I've become mommy to so many, and sometimes I feel envious of the teachers, because they are mummies to so many children from, let's say, nursery school. They have these children coming through the system every year, new children from the community. So teachers have such power over our children that some parents don't even have that power. And I'm not saying parents don't have that power, but remember today, parents are absent because they're chasing the bag. They're chasing too many things to put bread on the table, to ensure the children have shelter, to ensure they have clothing, to ensure they have their basic needs. And in pursuit of those basic needs, we have absent parents at home. And that's where it is a shared responsibility that the teachers, where we take our children, play a very active role in their lives. Yes, you do, and we appreciate it, but when it comes to safeguarding, there's a power imbalance. And because of that power imbalance, you find that it is very hard to deal with gender-based violence in schools, because the children who look up to us sometimes are abused by the same system that is supposed to protect them. So when we send our children to the schools, we entrust them to the coaches, who sometimes, by the way, don't even know the code of conduct. They don't have a code of conduct when they're handling our children at school. So we invite coaches who we believe have the technical expertise to help our players, our young talents, but they do not know where their scope of work ends. So you find that they interact with our children, and children trust them, they build the trust with them, and then use that trust to break the safeguards around the children. So it is our shared responsibility that when a child leaves and comes to, for example, Swan Sports Club, it is my responsibility and the coaches I work with to ensure that these children are in a safe space. That if they have any safeguarding issue, they're able to reach out to someone within the club or within the schools with which we have partnerships, or even the schools we're going to start engaging with going forward. So this conversation, I believe, was designed specifically for the head teachers and the community leaders, because plus the religious leaders, because you have such a powerful role to play as leaders, and we cannot hold just one person accountable. Each one of us has a role to play. When you send children to Swan Sports Club, they have a role to play. When we send children to the school has a role to play. When the children are back in the community, the local councils and the councillors, everybody has a role to play. And because of that shared responsibility, it takes the whole community to raise upright children. And based on all that information, I do not know whether my D.E.O is back from this short interview, because then I'm now going to welcome our panelists to join us, and we continue our conversation on understanding gender-based violence within our context. So in terms of our program, we're going to get into a panel discussion where we are going to be joined by the D.E.O, the CDO, a religious leader, a sports leader, and a probation officer. And we will try to dive into the real details of how do we understand and encompass gender-based violence within our environment, but especially in the sporting space. What is it that we are doing right? What is it that we're doing wrong? How do we go about creating supportive referral pathways to ensure that our children, if they are faced with this situation, find the right way to report and they don't remain silent? Because usually, if someone is doing something wrong to a child, they'll tell them toyogera. Not so? Chino chaffe. Chaffe babidi, eh? Please don't tell your teacher. Am I talking to someone? Am I talking to someone? Do not talk to your teacher about it. Do not tell your coach about it, because if you do, something will happen to you. Eh? Amgamba maybe omusota guja kuluma. Which musota is the musota, or she's the musota. And nowadays it's both ways, both boys and girls. Yeah, we've had the other conversation of, should I go there? Because we said you should be very honest, eh? It's hard, eh? But I'll go there. Of boys having relationships with boys, girls having relationships with girls. It's a difficult conversation, even for us as parents, even for us as coaches. It's a very difficult conversation, but it must be had. Because if it's not, then what are we doing? We're saying values. We're talking about values and moral obligations as leaders. What are those things that we want to tap into to understand how then to help these young girls and boys not to stay silent when they are faced with these issues? So I would like at this particular moment to recognize Madam Ritah Kimbowa, Mrs. Yes, who is our probation officer in Entebbe Municipality. I know most of you, like myself, haven't met her. And for the first time, I've lived in Entebbe for over 10 years, but I've never met her. So I'm also lucky to be meeting you for the first time. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. And I will kindly request you to join us on the panel. This is your moment to shine. I will also, your microphone is. Okay, it's okay. Please allow me also to request, it's difficult, it's Reverend, right? Reverend Ordinand. Okay, I'm trying to learn. Ordinand Lule? Musoke. Solomon. Thank you very much. Ordinand Solomon Musoke to please join us on the panel. He's coming from Namirembe Diocese. So, St. Peter's, Kiwafu. Madame Imelda. I think I'm going to give you the opportunity to lead this session because right now I feel challenged, but in a good way. Thank you. No, thank you so much for those corrections, because sometimes tuli bato and we learn. We keep learning. I keep telling my players I'm learning, unlearning, and relearning. This is also an opportunity for me to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So the same goes for you. When I make a mistake, please correct me because I'm also learning. Thank you so much for that. And on this panel, please allow me to invite a sports leader. I am going to invite Miss Betty Apio to join us on the panel. Betty Apio, you're most welcome. Betty Apio is a female coach for badminton in Entebbe. And the other person who is supposed to be joining this panel is the keynote speaker. And I would like to request that you kindly ask her to come back so we can continue this conversation. And as we wait for the keynote speaker to join us on the panel, I'll quickly allow the panelists to introduce themselves quickly, maybe in detail if you like. If you like, I don't know who'd like to go first, but okay. Thank you so much.
Because our focus is on gender-based violence. In this context, the project is focusing on girls who fall under the gender of the female. I pray
Is it loud enough?
ladies should come first.
Kindly help us with the microphone, please.
Yes, thank you. I wouldn't also want to think that the people in the technical team, most of these microphones, are also promoting gender-based violence. But because our focus is on girls, as the project states, who fall under the gender of female, I would be more comfortable if ladies start first.
Okay.
Then,
That's a true gentleman. Thank you so much. So we'll allow the ladies to go first. Who'd like to go first? The ladies are shy.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kimbowa-Probation, Probation Officer Entebbe. Glad to be here, and I welcome everyone present today, being a public holiday. I hold a bachelor's degree in social work and social administration. Currently, I'm pursuing a degree in law at Kimbowa. I'm glad to be here. If my colleague facilitator distance solve, then we go to the understanding of the agenda is violence.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone.
Is it working?
Hello? Hello?
Yes, loud.
Like that? Good morning, everyone. My name is Apio-Coach. I don't have a very big CV. I'm a badminton coach. I was once a national player. It's fine. Hello? Hello? Amen. So let me start again. My name is Apio-Coach, and I'm a badminton coach. I was born and raised in Entebbe, and I have a bachelor's degree in procurement and logistics management. I also have a diploma in sports administrator course with the Uganda Olympic Committee. And I was once a national player, and I coach in various places. I coach at the universities, I coach at the club levels, and maybe any other places that I'm invited to. So I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much. My name is Ordinand Solomon Musoke. I'm stationed at St. Peter's Kiwafu, Church of Uganda, in the Diocese of Namrembe, Entebbe Archdeaconry, and I'm also glad to be here. And I believe I'll learn a lot in regards to gender-based violence. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Just mic check. Mic check. Thank you so much for those introductions. And now, deep dive into understanding. Technology can be technology. I'm sure that I'm audible as I am, right? So I can carry on. Thank you very much. And now to the panelists, we're going to be joined by the D.E.O, but as we start, I'm going to pose a few questions in relation to the topic, which is understanding gender-based violence in our context. And this is to all of you. From your sector perspective, how serious is GBV in our communities today? Madam D.E.O, kindly join us on the panel. I know you are being taken away for activity but unfortunately or fortunately, your role is very, very important. Most welcome. So the first question to the panelists is, from your sector perspective, how serious is GBV in our communities today?
Maybe this one is on that.
The other question is, where are we seeing the highest risks? Where are we seeing the highest risks? What do you think? Why do you think gender-based violence remains underreported in many communities? And last but not least, I hope I'm not too fast. Oh, apologies. Where are we at? Number 2 or number 3? Number 2. Where are we seeing the highest risks of gender-based violence? Is it schools? Is it sports? Is it homes or community spaces? Where are we seeing the highest risks? Is it schools? Is it sports? Is it homes or communities? The next question is to the panelists. Why do you think gender-based violence remains underreported in many communities? Why do you think gender-based violence remains underreported in many communities?
1, 2.
And the last question to all the panelists is, what does leadership responsibility mean when we talk about gender-based violence prevention? What does leadership responsibility mean when we talk about gender-based violence prevention? And I think we'll start with Ordinand, because as we can see the panel, You are representing a minority. So for the first time, you're representing a minority, but I think you are able to help us understand from a faith perspective how serious this issue is in our communities. Please carry on.
Thank you so much, and I would really like to appreciate the organizers, partners, and funders who have supported and made this happen. When we talk about gender-based violence, this is a vice which is eating up all of our communities, and we all need to be alert, have an open mind, and keep our ears open to all that is happening in relation and regards to gender-based violence. Here is the question on how serious gender-based violence is. Ladies and gentlemen, all who are seated under this roof, we are all aware the biggest cause and biggest reason as to why we are here is the reason of gender-based violence. The organizers and partners, after realizing that this is growing like a burning bush, they decided to bring us together and say, let us discuss and find a way forward on how we can cut this vice and stop it. First of all, when we are to talk about gender-based violence, we are looking at the already existing vice, but we need to dig deeper and look at what is the cause. Our discussions today, we are looking at how best we can prevent gender-based violence, but let us look at the causes of gender-based violence. What brings this? In my view, I would say it is ignorance and information. We here, we may have an opportunity to say that you've heard of our profiles. We've went to schools, we've acquired degrees, many of us. But we have people out there who are not in this room, down there in our communities, who are not even informed of how gender-based violence is spread. Because if you look at these causes of gender-based violence, somebody will come in and say, now let's start with here. We have rugby. Most of the people would think that rugby is for men, yet also women can also play rugby. When we get into the context of the church, in Genesis, we see God creating heaven and earth. But the Bible tells us that we are all created in the image of God. Meaning, with all our abilities, things we can do that represent the image of God. Now, if you get into segregating someone, driving someone into violence, look, if you stop someone from engaging into anything he or she is engaging into, that is violence. It could be emotional. You may not realize that on the first time. Look, when we were still young, our parents would tell us that, I would like to say this in Uganda. Togenda kumukolo, banga toina lugoye, lugenda kumukolo. You don't go to a function because you don't have that outfit that fits you to be at the function. As a child, our parents, little did they know that that is violence, emotional violence to a child. Now, this vice is happening in the biggest communities. That is why I'm saying that how serious this is. It is serious in the communities, but our community members are not aware that they are spreading violence. So when we have to talk about this, now we as church, we come in to teach these people and talk about gender-based violence. But when we talk about this violence, people will not understand us. They would think that we are sidelining with some other people. Yet this is the reality. Therefore, what I would like to say here, gender-based violence is too serious and it needs to be addressed because people are not informed of how it spreads and how it is done. They think gender-based violence is only women beating them, refusing them to take up positions. That's what people may think, but it goes beyond that because it could be emotional, psychological, physical, social, and any other way. Can I drive into the other question?
Yes, please. Please, kindly.
Now, the other question was, where is the highest risk of gender-based violence in communities. Like I've said again, we are under this roof, but people down there in Nachuoko, Mugonga, Chibungu, they are not informed. Fathers are not informed, mothers are not informed, the teens are not informed. Lucky enough, this project is advocating for girls. But did you realize that also boys are facing gender-based violence? This could be emotional, where a boy would come up and say, now, me as a boy, I also want to take part in some of the activities and engagements, but will be limited. Look, when it comes to time of playing, teachers, most of the teachers here will testify to this. When they are playing, there is this kind of play, is it Kwepena? Is it Kwepena? They say, no, that is for only girls. Now, if we are talking about gender-based violence, how would we leave that out? So, the boys would also want to engage into these engagements and activities of playing, but they are left out and sidelined. So, meaning that our communities out there, we shall not be specific to religious institutions, schools, but general in the community. That's where this vice is, and it is at the highest risk in our communities. Why gender-based violence is underreported? Yes, it is underreported. Reason being one, if you come up to report about gender-based violence, you will be looked at as someone who doesn't know what you are doing. That is why many people are keeping silent. We are looking at girls, boys, but there are also men and women who are facing gender-based violence. They just keep quiet and say, how will that come out? I have my degree. How will I start saying that, I'm a victim of gender-based violence? You will keep quiet. I wouldn't want to believe that some of us here in this room have experienced that. But then, these cases are not highly reported because people feel they will be stigmatized, they will receive a kind of stigma in the communities. Even in churches, people will come and say, please pray for me. I'm experiencing this. But you will not come out to say, no, I'm going to police, I'm going to advocate for this. They will not come out. Reason being, they fear the stigma to face unto them. What does leadership responsibility mean in prevention? Now, the leadership responsibility, most of people who are in leadership, we the religious leaders, the teachers, the head teachers, one is to sensitize and teach. That is our role. We sensitize our communities. Because we realize we will sensitize these children, these pupils. But look at the parents. When we invite for issues of the cause here now, we may get to church in Sunday school and say we are going to talk about this gender-based violence. When children, men, boys and girls are playing, please engage into this. But the parents may keep a deaf ear towards this and say, who told you that? No, at church they told me that. Then they say, no. Don't do that. At home, this is what we have to do. Therefore, our responsibility as people in leadership is to do sensitization and education, to teach our very own people to understand more of this. Now, what we all again need to do as leaders, one, our responsibility is to support these victims. Our responsibility is to support these victims. Because there are people who you find who have been victimized in cases of gender-based violence, and they fear to report these cases out to police. Because somebody is illiterate, did not go to school, will say, now again, police, he keeps home. He keeps there, he only keeps coming to church, let me pray, God to help me. Yes, God will help you to take you through that, but the other person who is a result of gender-based violence needs to also be informed that what you are doing is wrong. Then this person will keep into that situation now, day, and forever. Therefore, our role is to support these victims. Another thing is that we as religious leaders we help to pray for transformation, people to change. You know, we may also be seated under this roof and realize and find out that some of us are also engaging. They are practicing gender-based violence ignorantly. But then what we also need to do as religious leaders is to pray for transformation. We pray that God gives us the grace to change. Because if you look in the book, Paul's letter to the Ephesians, in chapter 5, verse 21, it says, okay, let each one of us be submissive to each other. We submit, we pray, and then it helps us to change. Because we realize in these communities where we already say, men will say, I'm a man, and women will also say, I'm a woman. This is my right. I must do this. This is what I have to do. Then we find ourselves and these other people engaging in cases of violence ignorantly, because they are those who also come up advocate. But the force and aggressiveness they use in the advocacy is not also called for. Therefore, our role here is to pray for transformation, each one of us to change and understand carefully how this is to be done, and we live advice of gender-based violence. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that was, from a religious point of view, I think you make very valid points, and I would like then to move on to hear from I think I'll hear from the probation officer last. I'd like to hear from the sports administrator, and then to the D.E.O, and then we'll hear from the probation officer. So kindly pass on the mic. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to speak as a coach and also the experiences that we've been facing. First of all, what do I understand by the term gender-based violence? This is like any unlawful or sexual harassment. So let me just give you I'm going to be giving you maybe examples, and my fellow coach will agree with me. For example, the first question was,
from your sector perspective,
how serious is GBV in our community today? It is very, very serious, because as a coach, I've faced this myself. I've faced this myself as a player, first of all, but let me speak from a perspective that I'm a coach. Most coaches have also faced this, because in the coaching system, we have the female coaches and the male coaches. And you'll all agree with me, or you'll disagree with me, that in the sporting world, we have more male coaches than female coaches, which is kind of a bit of a challenge when it comes to coaching and all things like that follow. So it is very serious, but what we should know is that coaches play a very vital role. What we should know is that coaches play a very vital role in coaching kids, because when we come to coaching kids, we don't only coach kids, because coaching varies. Coaching varies from junior players to elite players. So gender-based violence is very, very serious when it comes to our community. So let me also talk about the examples of the gender-based violence that I've been seeing and also experiencing. For example, sexual harassment. When it comes to maybe you're coaching a particular child, or maybe the girls and then the boys, there is this, depending on the environment. For example, when a girl comes to you and maybe she's in her periods, and then maybe there's a male coach, it is kind of difficult for the female colleague, for the female child, to tell the male coach, maybe I'm facing this, maybe I'm facing this. So you as a female coach, you have to come in. So at times there is also that challenge, maybe since there are many male coaches, more than the female coaches. So at times, for example, let me give you scenarios. Maybe when we are coaching in the national team, and there are mainly 3 coaches and then 1 female, you find that girls find it very difficult to talk about such issues. And also, I've had scenarios whereby the male coaches have not followed the code of conduct. I'm sorry to say this, but in our sporting world, I would not say in our particular sport, but in our sporting world, many coaches have really taken advantage of many girls. For example, you find that if at all a male coach is supposed to give maybe maybe let me just give you an example, like maybe a device or some help. You find that the male coach is not going to do it for free. After the lessons and all those things, behind the doors, the male coach will be like, you know what, I need this and this and this, but don't tell the female coach and things like that. So it is very, very challenging and it is very serious. So the second question was?
Where are we seeing the highest risks?
Yeah. Where are we seeing the highest risks? For me, I would say in the sporting world. Honestly, it happens in schools, but I'm here to talk about the sporting world. I'll say it is very, very high in the sporting world because both male and females are facing this. She talked about girls being sexually with girls and then boys being sexually with boys. It is really happening in all the sports sectors. So it is highest in the sporting world because the sporting world covers everyone. Most of you here, some of you are maybe teachers, some of you are doctors and all that, but you cannot do away with any sport. At least all of us here play a particular kind of sport, be it rugby, maybe badminton, I know for badminton, maybe football and all that. So it is highest in the sporting world. So we need something to be done there seriously.
And why do you think GBV remains underreported in many communities?
It remains unreported because of the fear. For example, some of us as coaches, we don't have much authority to maybe stand up because in the sporting world we have hierarchies. We have like maybe the CEO, then we have the chairperson, the president and all that. So you as a coach, if you see this is happening and you're like maybe let me report this, at times it is fear. You're like maybe I'll not be given a national duty maybe to take a student this, or maybe I'll be taken in a certain way. So most of us coaches, we fear reporting these things because we fear maybe we shall not be given a team, or we fear what they will say and all that, because some of the people that do those things are in the hierarchy, they are up there. So as coaches, it is just fear, mostly fear.
Okay, and what does leadership responsibility when we talk about GBV prevention mean for you?
Leadership responsibility to me, it means actively taking accountability. For example, as a coach, I should lead by example. Because if at all I'm a female coach and I'm the one actually maybe vibing, maybe a girl, or if at all let me say a male coach, I'm the one vibing maybe a girl and I'm the one telling you don't do this behind doors. If you go back home, don't tell your mom maybe I touched you this way or this way. So we should live by example as a coach. That is what I'm saying.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to add my voice to understand in depth what gender-based violence means. Because we could be driving the bus, but maybe one or two still have a question. Like all my colleagues have said, gender-based violence is violence directed to someone because of their gender. And it affects people in a particular gender. We have said physical violence, beating, fighting, physical harm. Sexual harassment is another type of GBV, unwanted sexual acts or exploitation. We are also saying emotional, psychological violence, intimidation, humiliation, or control. Our girls and boys don't want a lot of control. You become too much. There are parents there who have a lot of control. So much of everything is not good. Somehow, somewhere, they need lacusti for them to enjoy what they are. Economic violence, controlling access to money or resources. If I'm married to you and you don't declare what you have, it becomes part of gender-based violence. Because I don't know what you earn and I don't know how you spend. And yet we are partners in one bed. That one is another type of gender-based violence. Yeah? Is it a good one? Economic violence. Akasente kokola mwami okaspendinga wa. Era okaspendinga otya. Awaka family kyetukalabako. naye mukyalo okeera genda kukola buli kanaku, but you want even the last earring to be bought for you. It becomes another type of economic violence. Mukategedde bulungi ako. Harmful cultural practices like child marriages. So there we are explaining what gender-based violence is in detail. So my first question again. Yes.
What are the highest risks? Could you briefly explain to us what gender-based violence is?
Yeah. The highest risk as for education is here. We have seen a lot of student dropouts being caused by gender-based violence from family, from school. A teacher insists, if you don't do a lecture at university, you will never pass this course. It is happening, and it has happened. You do retake after retake because you did not put down your skirt for that particular lecturer. And our girls at higher institutions of learning are suffering innocently. Above all, these giant men have their health issues. And some of our girls have come from homes and families where they have been told, please no. You understand? So because the girl is, tender, and yanywa kumata, the lecturer with all of the beard is there. You will never do this course because you have not allowed me. So it leads to students drop out across levels, from primary to the higher institutions. Early pregnancy. Most of the girls that have had early pregnancy is as a result of gender-based violence. Baba tunuza mu mbuga ya stani nga tebaagala, nga tebanneetuuka. We have seen this vividly during the COVID time. Many families were getting pregnant cases from the brothers, from the uncles, from the daddies who are supposed to protect them. So there are lots of early pregnancies and unwanted births that have been caused by exposure of gender-based violence. Failure to provide basic needs for us in schools as parents is a form of gender-based violence. The teachers are here. You send us children without food. What do you want us to do with them? When we came here, our partners fed us. They have given us water. They are going to give us lunch. They are going to give us evening tea. When you go home, we shall eat lunch and eat supper. Wanji. And eat it? Please note, we ate breakfast while we were coming here. Am I right? Yes. We have eaten another breakfast part 2. They have given us water. Even if we want a second bottle of water, they will serve you. They are going to give us heavy-duty lunch. We are going to take evening tea. When you go home, back in a kuwe, chemisana wala you to leku table chiri. Hakamere kange bakampe feibe. Mwafumbye katogo. Iya katogo ako nkagala nnyo. Nalese nguze ekyennyanja kyange. Omutwe gwange bagogole ki? And they will serve supper, and you man and girl and woman, we will eat. But the children are in school from Monday to Friday with no food, which gender-based violence is higher than that. Amina. Denial of opportunities. There is an opportunity. But most of us parents, me inclusive, you don't go deeper to understand the opportunity. Your student, your girl, your boy is explaining, but your word is no. Muchalani, Ritah, your word is it? Sometimes there is an opportunity. Can we move an extra mile and understand in depth? They have given me an opportunity under Swans Rugby, under Girls Rugby, to go to Gulu national competitions. To go to, which countries do you normally go to? South Africa. I've seen parents saying no to their children. There now has a lot of logic behind because of what my colleague has said. We are killing an opportunity for this student. We are killing an opportunity, me inclusive, and I'm talking to myself. We are killing an opportunity for this girl because of what my friend, in interest of time, has explained. We are thinking we are not safer with you, coaches. And it is on record, and she has, I liked this debate. If I had time, we would talk and talk. She has said from top, the chief executive, buli muwala ali mu association, ali mu club ayagala amalu mukolachi, omulabako. So for us, the land, the near information, the near exposure, we shall protect our girls. The lady coach says, Bambi, can we protect these girls? But she also fears to talk, because if she talks, the boss executive is going to terminate. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? So you'll find Mama Ritah, probation officer, will not let her girl go to Guru, because she knows where she's sending her girl to do is not a safe space. I would rather remain on my biology, chemistry, physics, and I fight with this teacher, and I fight with this lecturer. But there in the camp where I'm not, oh, our girls have suffered. Thank you for inviting me, because I had some pain. Now I have an opportunity to tell. Our boys have suffered with the coaches, male, and the coaches, men. Entebbe Municipal Council, we normally take our students for nationals. But I make sure, where are my senior women teachers? Where are my male teachers? Senior women teachers, the moment you go to Yombe, and my girls are not protected, you have no job tomorrow. It is between life and death. And they try. But when we go to secondary level, senior woman teacher is protecting, atena ye coach amutute, atena bana abawala abatute, we end up there, zero space. Because the teacher at secondary also has coupled with a coach around. These are real issues we need to talk about. And let's thank these people for bringing us together, because we would never have an opportunity to talk about them. So denial of opportunities. It is cutting across. The girl has failed on her opportunity, the parent feared the coach, and child labor, working for long hours, is another form of very big domestic violence. Even in Entebbe, my mayor normally warns me that Jaja moves around this city at night, and children are selling eggs. Joyce, when Mzee calls you in set house, you will answer, I will not come. You know him. Fabu. Uncle Fab. You know him, eh? So we'll put it direct on my face. For all the children, and her, for all the children of Entebbe, they are selling nakati. One time they come to our head teachers meeting, we pick nakati, we buy the nakati, and we align the children to schools. My head teachers are here. We have done it. In the holidays, okay? Maybe they can work, but not for long hours. You are selling marwa with the girls. You are sleeping in one unit house, yes, economy. You are doing all of your game in the night with my children listening. Those are forms of domestic, gender-based violence against children. Why do you expose them to what they are not supposed to be exposed to at another time? You are igniting them. Am I communicating? So child labor, children should not work. And they should not work for longer hours. They need to sleep psychology and you sciences of Musei 8 hours plus. Child-headed families. The communities of Chigungu, parents are not there. They have gone to work. Nachiwogo. And who is heading the family? The P6. The head teacher Nachiwogo is here speaking by herself. Even her, she can't talk, but me, I can talk. Air Forces. The forces officers on uniform, and quote me right for this house discussion, they have been assigned to go on assignment. They leave my children in there. houses to take care of themselves. As the office men go for duty for many days and many years. That's another form of domestic violence. Children are not supposed to head families. One time I had to leave a 20-year in the house. I had to put straight a point to her. You are not a child, so you will not report me to police. You are now a big girl. You are not young. Because when you're 18, you're young. When you're 20, you become a responsible person. Drug abuse in schools and influence. Is it still existent? I have one school, one of my good schools. I will not mention, I will protect. Very expensive school along the shores of the lake. Boarding, secondary. The communities will come with the drugs and they hide here. And they know their signals. The students will come in the night and pick and put money. Waraj, in Buvera, in Jaga. And they have fallen sick and they have been fighting in dormitory and going to police because they are under influence of that drug. Here in Entebbe, 3 million, 2.5 million, secondary. So the business is between the showermen, abavubi, and the boys in the school. The drug is affecting us so very much in Entebbe. And all of these beaches you see, all of these boys and youth you find there are students in schools. Poor facilities in sports is also affecting, and it causes the same. Love of younger girls, the fear, I have talked about it, the fear of the parents. And this is why they resist. In summary, the highest risk is on sexual harassment. The number 2 question is on highest risk. May I rate it on sexual harassment? If all of us in the sports spaces can fight against sexual harassment, we are going to enjoy sports. Sport game will thrive. The land and rich family will give you their children. If we only address sexual harassment, you understand? And then number 2, where we have high risk, is lack of professionalism. Lack of professionalism in the sport. Can we be professional? Because we have agreed. What game are we going to host as Uganda? Football AFCO? For the first time? We are growing. We now have a sports field in Hoima, a stadium in Hoima. We have one in Kapchora. I've been there. In our D.E.O's forum, we went to Kapchora, the athletics sport field for who? For Kapchora, for Cheprotik. It's a very big stadium. This game, this profession will move our country to another level if we address these challenges. There is money. You don't need to struggle with a lot of chemistry and physics and biology and math. It's only your talent. If we addressed those challenges, we would be far, just like the developed world is. Zipu tuzigaleo, abana baffe tujja babawa. Ekyo temwandi kikubiddeko mu ngalo. The other question, Mama. Leadership responsibility is the last one. Setting a clear stance, publicly condemn gender-based violence and promote a zero-distance culture. This is what I'm doing. Publicly, can we condemn it, all of us together? Can we say yes, we can? Yes, we can. Creating safe spaces. The Reverend Toby has talked about it. The lady reader has talked about it. Creating safe spaces, ensure environments are secure and supportive for reporting. Policy development, establish and enforce anti-gender-based violence policies and guidelines. Can we enforce? Can we establish what we have? Can we protect it? Can we sensitize? Training and awareness, educate staff, students, or community on gender-based violence signs and response. There are signs and response. And we are talking about girl-boy relationship. There is also boy-boy relationship and girl-girl relationship. How do we call that? Homosexuality so much in the sports spaces. So very much. And our country has pronounced that we are anti-homosexuals, haven't we? The president has pronounced Uganda as anti-homosexual. But when we go deep, not only as rugby, I'm now opening it wider, we find other signs and symptoms and effects of homosexuality under the sporting spaces. Training and awareness, yes. Resource allocation, provide access to counseling, legal and support services. This is why Mama is here. The secondary schools have counselors. The primary school structures are still using senior woman teacher. That faith-based organizations have many people talking to us. The counselors in the hospital health fraternity are also available. We can get all of these opportunities, leading by example. My dear coaches, can we be examples? When we train in music, dance, and drama, the more girls and boys dance, the more the trainer is seeing something different. And I complain in my schools that teachers don't want to train music. So we hire you. When we hire you, we end up getting pregnant cases with our girls. Because you train past 11, past midnight, senior woman akoye, against the kwebaka, music is so much in the school, and she has a lesson in the morning, so they leave the innocent girls in the hands of the trainers. And they are going for a competition, National Music Festival, and they want to win. What happens between there and the night, I can't explain. For God and my country, I thank you.
Thank you very much, our keynote speaker. And now we would like to hear from the probation officer, Madam Ritah, on the 4 issues of understanding GBV within our context. And I am sure you're going to speak to the community context. Please take the mic.
Thank you. To me, the most, these days we look at equality. Mothers want to go to work, leave our children with their maids. They watch whatever they want to watch on TVs. The fathers do whatever they want to their children. Remember, in sports, there's a way you dress. You put in leggings. We create a rapport. You can't speak to them when the mothers are around. You take them in corners and speak to them. But some of them say, let me say it in Uganda, that Daddy said Tebalopa abantu abakulu. So they keep quiet in a home when something happened. But the mother gets to know about it already. The fathers and the brothers at home. So to me, what I tell my parents when they come to the offices, let us be open to our children. Tell them where they can face dangers. If now, for instance, in my home, I don't allow my girls to visit their boys' room. Though they are brothers and sisters, but something can happen. I sense that. So even at home, we have a way that girls are dressing. They don't put in the patras. I know that the mothers know the patras. These are brothers. They've grown up. They watch TVs. Sometimes they watch without us. So to me, I urge the mothers to always think about our girls and boys. Because to me, what I understand with gender, these are just concepts of how they defined us. It can happen to a boy, it can happen to a girl. Because I think we watch movies where the maids go into the boys, we live with them. So when we look at gender, we should not look at only girls, but we should look at both sides and protect our children.
That was very concise. Thank you very much. And just to further probe on that, what happens after a GBV case is reported, and what is the actual survivor journey? So in the event that maybe a child comes up and reports a case that has happened in the home, what is their journey like? What does it look like for them, and how then do we help address that?
Thank you. To me, when a child reports or a parent reports gender-based violence in a home, sometimes I don't look at the suspect so much. We tend to forget the victims. They report the suspect is taken to police, even at court. But then we leave this young girl at home. So sometimes I go down to the ground, I talk to the parents, I look at the LCs, I get the history of the home, because sometimes you find that child is being left home because the mothers say, Akuma Kovanne, she doesn't go to school. So you have to find measures of how to protect this girl. We go into counseling, we place them in schools, because you find a girl of 13 years has never been to school because the mother says she keeps the others when the mother goes to the garden, or maybe when the mother goes to work. So to me, I look on to the victims instead of the suspects.
Okay. A bit of clarity. And where do most cases break down in the referral pathway? So in the reporting pathway, where do we see gaps in terms of breakdown when the reporting has happened, but you're not getting the answer, you're not getting the solution because there's a breakdown in the system? Where do you see the gaps?
Most times the gaps are within the families, because you find if it's the uncle or the mother, or no, the father deferred the girl, the mothers tend to keep quiet. They don't want to shame the mothers, they don't want to shame their brothers. And sorry to say this, the police officer is here, but I still have a gap there within them. Because sometimes you go to police with a case, when you go to the ground to do the social inquiry report about that case, you find that the suspect is not at police. They negotiated with the family members and they released the suspect. So this girl has not benefited anywhere. And sometimes you follow up the case, but the mothers get tired of, going to police. And sometimes it depends on the journey. So if someone is coming from, Kasanje is near, but if someone is coming from the other Buwaya side, they can't come for a week. They only come like once a week or once in a month. So the police officers close the files in that process.
So basically, like Ordinand said earlier, poverty, because to transport yourself from Kasanje to Entebbe on 2 occasions is quite expensive.
Yes.
That's what I can imagine. And what support systems are most lacking for survivors, from your opinion? Support systems, yes. Yeah. What support systems are more lacking for survivors?
You find facilitation. We lack facilitation, transportation. Because to me, if I'm to investigate the case, I sometimes bring that child to my office. But still, to me, I can't facilitate myself to go to Kasanje to bring that suspect to my office. You find the home setting, they can't tell you the truth, because this girl is looking at the uncle, is looking at the mother or the father at home. So we have that challenge of facilitation, transportation. It's a big challenge.
Okay, and I'm not putting you on the spot, but I just want to understand exactly how then we can help our survivors in the community in case they're faced with this situation and they need to know how to address it. My last question to you would be, how can community leaders then improve trust in reporting systems? How can they be able to improve the trust in the reporting system like you've highlighted?
I think we need to put trust in the victims.
We need to trust the victims when they
Yes, we need to
speak
put
up.
trust in them while talking to them. You show to them that you talk, because me sometimes when I'm talking to them, I show to them I'm their aunties, I'm their next mother. I'm helping and I'm guiding them. Then another thing, when we are doing the investigation, we have to look at the welfare of this child, because even their act of that child, where are we leading that child to? Where will this help us to help this child never to face that again or any other person in that home? Yes.
Thank you very much, Madam Ritah. And now to the religious leader. Kindly pass on the microphone. It's a simple one, but probably, what role do faith institutions play in shaping attitudes about gender-based violence? What role do faith institutions play in shaping attitudes about gender-based violence? And I would like you to help us understand that from a general faith-based perspective, whether Catholic, Protestant, Muslim, what do you think are the key roles for them to do that?
Thank you so much. In the context, in the religious context, for the religious institutions to make more people aware of what gender-based violence is, like I said before, some people take it to be normal. And their perception comes to be, that is what it should be. It should have Joe. I want to revert it back to ignorance. Now that coming in, we have to shape these people to inform them that gender-based violence is a crime. This is a serious crime, punishable in the courts of law, punishable by the government here in Uganda. Now, we shaping their attitude. Our role towards the attitude is one. I wouldn't want to so much, again, revert to what I was talking about. One, in helping them to understand that attitude, first of all, we need to encourage open communication. Our open communication needs to talk about the reality, not the ideal. We address this in its reality. We as religious leaders, when we get to the pulpits, as we are teaching the congregation, we speak this in reality. Because you would look and say, some of the parents, or some men, some women, some girls, some boys, there are some things they feel, this must be mine, that must be yours. Number two, most of us here are parents. Most of the parents think that when you send these children to go to the well, if they are still there, a boy must take a 10-liter jerrycan, a girl must take a 5-liter jerrycan. Now, parents think, because you are a boy, you must carry something which is more heavier than a girl. No. That attitude parents are having. So if we start speaking the reality about this, that no, please, if all these are children, this one is taking 5-liter, the other one is taking 10-liter. No, the other one who is taking 10-liter, that is a form of violence. Change that attitude and perception. If they're all taking 5 liters, let them take 5 liters to the well. Now, the parents will understand that better. Therefore, our role here is to change their mindset in towards the approach of gender-based violence. Now, let's also look at this, just a quick one. You know, we may see some parents in homes. They may say, when we have a bed, a girl must sleep on a bed, a boy sleeps down. You know, therefore, the attitude towards gender-based violence, some parents ignorantly, they practice gender-based violence without information. Therefore, our role is to talk about this in reality and how it is, then to help us make sure we curb up that vice.
I think you speak to two things. You speak to equality,
That's
is what I hear, and you speak to inclusivity, and those are core values that we speak to as within the sporting fraternity, to ensure that everybody has equal opportunity and everybody is inclusive in the decision making. Very valid points, but further to your submission, yes. How then can places of worship become safe reporting and referral entry points?
One, our role as religious institutions We may not have these departments, but we can create desks for receiving issues of those cases. You realize victims who have been victimized with gender-based violence will fear to go to police, but they may not fear coming to a religious leader because I'll give them more time of counseling. Therefore, here what we need to do here is create those desks or departments for those people to immediately respond to the issues of gender-based violence. In case anyone has come up with a case of gender-based violence, has been victimized, has experienced that, then if we create that, I believe that will be a safer space for people in the community to run to churches because they feel it is good for them. Then we also create counseling. We always preach, Jesus said. We've not talked about rights. If we start talking about rights, this is your right, not in a biblical context. We have the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. We have different acts of parliament. Children Act, talking about their role, their responsibility, how parents should treat these children, how they should behave. So if we create those desks, and we again play that role of informing them, counseling them, teaching them about their rights, I believe church will be a safer space for them to run any other than anywhere else.
And I believe you because I've grown up in church, and the Regina you see here today was a singer in church, so I can relate, and I think that is lacking and it needs to be re-emphasized, especially when we look at religious leaders as holy people, and they should be drawing us closer to God, not away from God, if you understand what I mean. Thank you so much for that submission. And now to the sports leader. How can sports values help shape positive behavior among young people? Madam Betty.
Repeat that again.
How can sports values, for example, maybe I'll use rugby because those are the sports values I understand very well, and these include integrity, passion, solidarity, respect, and discipline. Those are the core values of rugby. They will add a sixth one, which says family. So within those core values, and maybe I'll add the Olympic values, which is excellence, respect, and friendship. So within all those values that I've highlighted, how do you see sport helping to shape those positive behaviors among boys and girls?
Thank you so much for that question. Now, sports really shapes people in different ways, most especially character-wise, because I know that every sport, be it badminton, rugby, football, they all have their different values and their discipline that someone should follow. For example, the way she talked about earlier enough in the morning. So in our sports world, or in badminton, we also have values that we follow. So for example, we have discipline. In case we also have our own rules as well. For example, if at all you're playing, you're not supposed to shout at the umpire. You're supposed to be disciplined. In case you do this, then maybe a red card will be awarded. So you find that if at all a person engages in sports, such values are being built, whether you like it or not. Whether it is, at times, okay, it is forcefully, because children or the youth nowadays, what they want is what they follow. For example, you find that nowadays, a child prefers sports more than school. So if at all in the sporting sector, we impart such values like discipline, it's going to help the child. Because for example, if at all a child comes to you and they're like, you know what, coach, nowadays I really don't want to go to school, because I've had scenarios like that. But if you impart such values in them and then you communicate openly, you tell them this and this is bad, you live by example, you tell them this and this is bad, maybe you should do this and this, then you find that the child, actually most cases, the youth or the child listens mostly to the coaches more than even the parents. So as coaches or in the sporting world, we've done such great work. And also, what I can say that in every sporting world we have different values, and most of our values are the same.
I think when you speak about building character, that kind of sums it up all, because I know for a fact that sport indeed builds character. And just further to that, what systems should exist to protect athletes, especially girls and young women in sport?
Okay, we have what they call safeguarding policies, but what I know is that most associations don't have the safeguarding policies, protecting the females, protecting the boys, doing this. So I just urge that everyone who is here, maybe that everyone that comes from an association, at least we should implement like safeguarding policies, and also open communication, like the way my other senior person talked about, open communication. Ask coaches, we should openly talk to the youth or the people that you are training, and also programs like these, like the GBV programs, have also been so much of an influence. So that can also help.
Thank you very much, Betty, for that submission. And now to the D.E.O. It's a quick one, because you've kind of guided us from the keynote to the panel with exactly what is helpful. And now I want to ask, how can schools work better with families and communities to prevent gender-based violence?
Information.
Information.
Let's share information. Let's speak to each other. Let's engage. Let's engage. What happens at home affects school. What happens in school affects home, for the betterment of the student.
For the betterment of the child and the student. Thank you very much, Madam Joyce. And now I am going to give cross-panel fire. They're going to be fire. Are you ready? I'm joking. Okay, so the question is to any of you, where are we failing most? Is it prevention, reporting, or response? Prevention?
To me, it's prevention, because when we prevent, we're reducing the whatever will happen to this child. If I prevent the children from going for sports, like Madam Joyce said, I'm reducing whatever will happen, like early pregnancies to them.
I think you have the right answer. But I think it takes the whole pathway, in my opinion. So we can prevent, but if the case happens, we must respond. And if it also happens, we must report and refer. Not so? So I think we cannot take one aspect on its own. I think it's a whole cycle. We have to take the whole cycle. Yes, we want to prevent. It's very, very important. But what if something happens? If we prevent and something happens, then we need to address the whole cycle as it goes. So we prevent, we report, and we respond, right? All right, I just want to take this moment, because I can see that the time is not on our side, to thank the panelists for an amazing, amazing job. I think they deserve a round of applause. But before they leave the platform, I would like to bring the microphone around, so that if you have any burning question to any of the panelists, now is your time to shine. Okay? Whoever is ready, please just raise your hand and the microphone will come to you. Okay, there's a hand here. So we'll take 1, 2, 3, and then the hands will keep rising, I'm sure. Thank you.
Well, Sister Regina, thank you so very much. My name is Martin Kaida, and a sports teacher, Mary Reparatric Secondary School, Sagala School in Bugonga. I have one question, but allow me to begin by probably highlighting one or two on how serious this issue is to our community. One, it challenges our core existence as humanity. The effects are not only in the occurrence of the event, but we've seen victims for the rest of their lives struggling to get along with the challenges. they suffer. I've heard of stories of girls who were molested in childhood. They get married, but they fear. They struggle to get along. In other words, humanity struggles to thrive just because of these occurrences. That's how grave, that's how serious it is. It chokes our future. And I'm still in amazement, Sister Regina, how you spotted the dimensions that you put on the panel. The religious space, the home, the school, and the sports. Basically, in these spaces, that's where we have challenges. But the future is questioned. You can't tell. When they were presenting, one of the things that came in my mind, who knows? I was just trying to envision, as a country in all spheres, we are where we are. Could it be if these occurrences were not in the past, we would not be where we are? Or we are where we are just because those occurrences happened in the past? They robbed us of the best talents. They robbed us of people who would put us on a better platform in any field, be it sports, be it education, because they affect our future in one way or another. Therefore, that's how serious, that's how grave the question is. But let me ask, and my question is in line with the leadership. The question was, what does the leadership responsibility mean when we talk about this gender-based violence? I'm tempted to believe that actually the leadership is in the know of what is expected of any victim in case a report comes to their desk. But how can we strike a balance that we are not theoretical, but we are practical? Yes, we know what is supposed to be done. The issue has been brought to your desk, but there is a practical response that is redeeming the victim and is helped. Because Madame talked about it, at times we look at the culprit and ignore the victim. Some parents can't afford counselors, and the child is traumatized, but you think that she has moved on. How can we have a balance? The theory is upheld, but the practical is driven home. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Just before you drop the microphone, kindly let me know who you're addressing, who you'd like to respond to this question.
My D.E.O. being
the D.E.O.
I think.
Okay, Madam D.E.O., you have a question to respond to, so just park it there for a minute, and then we'll take the next one.
Okay, thank you very much. It is indeed an honor and a privilege for me to be with you here. I recognize the protocol, colleagues in the mother profession, teachers, and other officials in the house. I have a question to ask. This one probably goes to probation officer, none other than Madam Betty. You are going to answer this question. You have talked about fear.
For clarity, yes, the probation officer is Madam Ritah. So I think you're addressing it to Madam Ritah, right?
No, Madam Betty.
Madam Betty is a sports leader.
Okay, the sports leader.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I'll put it clear. Thank you. I'd like to ask this from her observation, what she has talked about. She has talked about fear, and fear is something very bad, especially when you are a leader. Fear limits potential. She said, as a coach, they have fear. This fear is being brought about by the top officials. Here is my question. How are we going to control this or to cap this free in order to execute the duties properly? Because you talked about also intimidation and humiliation. Now, how are you prepared to control this? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think she's taken note of that, and when we come round, she'll be able to respond. There was another hand at the back. Pass the microphone.
I'm Joseph, a teacher from Oxford Nursery and Primary School, Kafunda Nabwel. My first question is directed to the catechist, that is the religious platform. We have talked about girl to boy or man to boy violence, but girl to girl violence has not been given maximum sensitization and platform. Why? When you look at this house, we have ladies and gents, and when topics are being designed, for example, they talk about homosexuality, that is a man to a man. But when you make ladies stand up and then you tell them to give us the opposite of homosexuality, I think nobody can give us that word, or if they are there, they are few. So we become servants to our words when we speak them out, but before that, we are masters of those very words. Secondly, I think the way we wrap and package, this one is directed to the principal education officer. The way we wrap and package our message at times is confusing. Why? Because when you talk about equality of gender, when they are making cut points for admission at different levels, you find that girls or women are given an opportunity for less points than boys. Don't you think that in so doing you are encouraging violence? Then also to the sports officer, you have, one day I was counseling people, then I was talking about bad touches. Then I was prohibiting my kids, boys, not to touch girls. Once little girl asked me that, sir, supposing a girl touches my private parts, isn't that violence? So, all in all, when designing these topics, let us make them inclusive, because ladies have times been promoters of this violence. When we come to talk about it, for them they hide their side. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I think those are very pertinent issues you raised there, and I am sure that the D.E.O will be able to deliberate on them. We'll hear from this side, and then we come back for more questions. I hope that's okay. Thank you. Who would like to go first?
Thank you very much. I'll start with the last question that is very interesting for me on gender equality, and where the gentleman is showing up that the girls have more favors as compared to their counterparts. But it has a genesis how it started and how it came up. Then maybe we just need to revise now. And the statistics we have now. How many girls passed O-level? How many boys passed O-level? How many girls pass P7? How many boys pass P7? We compare with then. Then the girls were not thriving through academically, and the boys were going through. The numbers of girls were very minimal. So this is why Ministry of Education gave 3 points for girls as at the cutoff. You're saying 5? Okay. When we are doing interviews in public service, the lady will enter the interview room with 3 points because of her gender. Persons with a disability, when they are doing interviews in public service, before they get to the panel, they already have their 3 points. So maybe if we now realize that the girls are on top all through, that the person is of disability are on top all through, then it calls for a revision. We review the policy. But as of now and as of then, why it came about was to promote the girls that were a little down. But today we see we are on top. So the boys need a revision, or we give balance to strike an equilibrium. The other question was also really interesting, where we are saying, where is the practicability of it? Yeah? The theory is very good, like money policies of the country, and many other countries come here to study our policies. They go and implement. Ours are good on paper, very nice designs. When we present them and talk about them, every country will love them. But when we go to the practical bit of it, we are challenged because we are compromised as a country. So you and me have a role to play. So how do we strike, how do we strike a balance that we get practical, not theoretical? It is you and me. Where has the case happened? The victim, are you able to sound an alarm? Are you able to speak up? Because many do not speak up. If it's been a defilement one time, first time, the second time it becomes okay. About the compromised. First time was first, second time was a year later, they even call. You understand? So the victim, the parent. Some parents are easily compromised. That's the practicability now. Is my son, is my relative, is the daughter of my sister. Impalana Muchika is going to hate me. Yeah? If I take them to police, they are going to imprison them. And what would the neighbor speak of me? You know them, how they happen. In the communities, in the families. So all of us are in this game. The law, my sister is here. I welcomed her when I saw her in church. When we report and they are in their hands, what do they do? And how are they supported? I've always interacted with them. They are overwhelmed. They can't continue with a file if you, the complainant, is not there. One time I also fall a victim. If I have time, I can share. I find children of P4, P5, P6, they are dancing the whole Entebbe with some youth around. They are going playing music, local dancing. They're entertaining the community around. It's not Kadodi the Rio, okay, Kadodi, all forms of traditional dances around. And that time I was with the Auditor General. You know the office of the Auditor General audits us annually, and several others, I'll not talk about them. But this time we had gone for lunch at a hotel in Chitoro. So this group of 4 or 5 girls come dancing around, playing music. They have a loudspeaker with them moving around. And they are tied, going dancing. I was finishing my meal. I quickly had to respond. Respond in fear, I'm protecting my job. Respond in fight of the child's right. So I went and eating tables. So before they started their music, I was like, where do you come from? Which association is this? Which school are these children going? Okay, can we get to this double cabin? I take you to a person who can pay fees for these children. Some small interview. I managed to get them onto the double cabin. The driver drove up to police. I hope you still remember my case. Between the year, I did not get time to follow up. I don't know how she ended. I was a complainant. I entered a police report file. I opened the file. You understand? But she was struggling to reach out to the parents of these children, and they had some money. They had to buy them supper, sleep around the police, call parents to come, take back their children. So they are also sometimes handicapped because you report and you don't make follow-up. So, the victim, the school, all of us, her office, she has mentioned, the health, people don't have information that when you have been defiled or you have done unnecessary sex, unwanted sex, there is a PEP. What is PEP? That medicine tablet, instant, you take 7 days, how many days? 30 days to prevent HIV, instant, within 72 hours. The first 2 days, okay? You take the PEP. The hospital is there, the medicine is there free, the community doesn't, So yesterday was Valentine's. If you have played the sex and you are not sure whether you played the safe sex, you better run to the hospital to first take PEP to protect you before you go for the check after 2 or 1 week, I don't know, something near that. The issue is information. The issue is information. Before you go to bathe, after you have been raped, we need to go into the details. After you've been raped, before you go to wash, you have to present yourself before medical and not clinic. You see the information people don't have. You go the way you were. Don't even clean your blood stains. Only cover less. And make sure you go to a medical government facility, and it must be a doctor, not a physician, not medical assistant. The report must be by a doctor. If you present medical assistant report, our clinic of our village, clinic here fenunji, bano basawo bafe batukolako buli kanaku, they might not be qualified, not even might. The statement is government doctor report. It must be a report, medical report from a government facility by a doctor. Then that file, when we get to court, it will pass. But if you clean the little obujulizi obukoze obutataganyiza, maybe. Others say it was a defilement, but it was not deep. Others will say it was a defilement, that game. There was no bujulizi. So the file is distorted. That's the practical bit of it. It's very sensitive. Me, in my work experience, one time I was very young and energetic and enthusiastic. So it was reported, a head teacher called from a school far, real far. I drove my car. I went to police, pick the girl from the village, and the parent come to hospital. Then this hospital doctor seems to want Chintu Chidogo, but he's not opening to me. I pulled my ID. I am inspector of schools. I'm not even related to this child, but I want to save this child. Then the doctor quickly worked on the girl. That is the practicability. Who dare leave their work on their duty station, drive a car on their own fuel, which you will not even claim somewhere. It takes a heart, okay? Thank you.
I think practical measures start with you and me. When you see something wrong, speak about it. Don't remain silent. I think that is what you raise fundamentally. And now to Coach Betty. I think you had a question there.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. His question was, How are you prepared to control this fear, the fear that I was talking about? Okay, most of us have experienced fear, but what I know about fear is that if at all you lack information, at times you lack the confidence, and it creates fear in you to do something. But because of the different programs that we have, we've gained knowledge, and I thank you, Madam Regina, for such things. If at all you've gained knowledge about what can you do if at all maybe a president is doing this or a CEO is doing this, and then maybe if at all you know that maybe a certain particular thing is being done, how are you going to tackle it? So I encourage building network and connect with other coaches. You can talk to other coaches. For us in the sports world, I am friends with many coaches from different sports, maybe rugby, football. You can ask them of a particular circumstance and ask them, have you experienced this? What have you done? And things like that. Because before maybe reporting, you have to know what you should do and also what are the repercussions and things like that. So you should gain knowledge. And also, the good thing for us in the sporting world, we also have different stakeholders. You can also engage parents. We have the media, parents, we have the law and things like that. So if at all you feel like you cannot go and face maybe a particular coach, a particular male coach or a particular president about maybe a sexual harassment or assault, you can talk to the parents, you can talk to the different stakeholders, and they can be of help. Because I know in the sporting world, it's about teamwork. It's not only you alone. So that's how I think we can tackle it.
Connections. I hear connections, mentorships, and coaching networks are very, very important, because that way you have a support system. Everybody needs a support system, and that's the message I hear from Coach Betty, which is very, very important. And now moving to the religious leader. Kindly share the mic, because I think there was a very important question for you there.
Thank you so much. However, our friend here, Naweru, I was just disturbed with the statements he made. I did not clearly get his question, but his concern was, if I could remember very well, that we talk about men to men, but we are living out girl to girl.
Can I just clarify? I think he referred to lesbianism, because what is being addressed is homosexuality, and we're leaving out the aspect of lesbianism. Yes.
Now, I did not understand what his question was, but let's relate it to gender-based violence, and we get into the discussion. Now here, when you talk about lesbianism, we as religious leaders, we come up to talk about this. But now, like we've been brought under this roof, I want to believe all of us here know about lesbianism, not true? Waliwo atamanyi lesbianism. But out there, we have people who are not informed about lesbianism. And we have parents who again still argue ngaba wakana titebiriyo. Therefore, our role is to talk about this openly. And you might find that, now me, I for one, I am a peer educator with the International Justice Mission. We are fighting so much to end violence against children and women. So in most of our discussions, when we are discussing ending violence against women and children, we cannot leave out lesbianism, because you might find that some girls engage into lesbianism ignorantly. When girls are growing, they think, kangezeko. They are driven into something they do not know. When you do this, you become this. When you do this, you become this. Now, we as church, our role is to speak open blank, to teach these people, to sensitize them, to inform them the dangers of this vice, that it is indeed so deadly. Therefore, we can talk about this, we as church, but now look, when you come to church, you realize that the same congregation you receive today is the same congregation you receive tomorrow, the same congregation the other Sunday. Look at people who are left in the communities. Now, my call comes back to the Girl Project and partners and the rest. Push these discussions out of the boardrooms and these conference rooms. Take them down there into the communities. Go to marketplaces. Go to parks.
You may go to schools, yes, the girls may be informed, but remember when they do this, they do it in hidings. I don't know whether there is an association of house helpers in Uganda. They need to be educated about lesbianism. And you may find that they are the agents of this. Therefore, we push these discussions beyond these boardrooms and these conference halls. We take them out there, in the lake shores, those fishermen. They are educated. We go to their agencies which do labor export. I think in their trainings, this also needs to be included. Therefore, you can advocate. However, we are talking about rugby, but we need to push this discussion because this project is advocating for gender-based violence. However, it may be focusing on girls only, but we push it beyond this. But therefore, what we need to do as church, we talk about this, we educate people. In case there are people who have fallen victim, we can support them. Some may fear to report to police, but some of them may say, who will I pay? Then we call more partners, like all of these partners. They come on board. Let's assist and support this. But then for what I picked from your question was that, why don't we talk about this? Yes, we talk about this, and we urge all other religious leaders to talk about this in the communities, in Sunday, and all other gatherings like this.
Thank you very much. That hand clap was coming, then it stopped. Like, it has to come through all the way. But just for clarity, the Girls Project is not only supporting girls, it is the acronym for the project, but it's empowering both girls and boys, okay? Our target audience is both girls and boys in school and in our communities. As a sports club, we empower both girls and boys because it is about gender equality, it's about inclusivity, it's about giving opportunity to every child who has talent to excel. So I just wanted to provide that clarity to all of us. You are all aware that we play rugby for both boys and girls. Now, I know we have a few more questions. Our panel is going to get a little tired of us, but that's why you're here, to give us more information. So in case, there's a hand. I want to pick from this side also. I think the last channel of questions was only males. So Yamba, I know. I'll come to Madame, then to Yamba, and then to the gentleman over here. So let's quickly pass on the microphone. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. My name is Nyaburu Gladys. My question goes to the religious leader. And this, I've seen it from my village, so that's why I would like to ask. There are two. The first one goes, as religious leaders, how do you guide the young people about the healthy relationship and the gender respect? Then secondly, what program or teachings would you provide for the gender-based violence in families and the community? Thank you. How do you guide the young people about the healthy relationship and the gender respect?
There we go. I think Yapa also had a question. We will answer the next questions, and then when the three are taken, then we'll answer, and then we'll get back for more questions. We have a couple of more minutes to go.
Good morning, and thank you for attending this occasion. I am Yampa Abraham. I'm a parent. Fortunately, all my kids play rugby, boys and a girl, and they play in this club that is doing this. But I would like to talk about two things. My question goes to all of you who are seated on the panel. Do you know, or do you have some reasons why LGBTQ is there, or lesbianism and homosexuality. I learned about it in 1988 when I was in senior 2. I read a book in a magazine called Newsweek. A lady or a girl was a daughter of a mother who was a prostitute, that is a derogatory way, but should force her daughter to sleep with men because I think the mother was aging and she wanted the customers to keep coming. That girl grew up hating men, and that time she was advocating for lesbianism. She was clearly saying that she doesn't like men, she was severely abused, and that is how she was saying men are wild animals, and she wanted girls only. The second one came in later when I was around in senior 6. We, all of us, have a thing of looking at beauty from the visionary way, optical nutrition, and we tend to call girls chakula sajja. Chakula sajja stigmatizes girls and thinks that they're not beautiful enough to get married, and sometimes if an opportunity comes where she can become a man to another woman, that one is going to be another big advocate or an agent of lesbianism. About boys, there are so many stories that we can't talk about now. I won't ask you, I haven't researched. But my question goes to all of you about gender-based violence. Do we have a simple, clear mechanism of stopping these things? Especially now, in the times of, I call it internet times. I am a drunkard. Let me first admit. Being a drunkard is that I spend a lot of time with people who take alcohol. And I speak like this for purposes of education and understanding. If I'm seated there and Coach Ritah comes around, she has come, she also wants a beer, she has come to meet someone. Do you know how men call her, treat her, or if the headmistress of this comes in that type of group of drunkards? Wait, soko jiwano, olagawa. You're talking about bad touches in schools, but we don't talk about bad touches in public places. We don't talk about respecting the female gender, or the female gender coming out in public. I'm a parent, I'm an adult, I'm in public, and the girl who doesn't come and just comes and throws at you erotically. Do we have ways, do we have means of doing these things, mainly when the rest of the public are not seeing? Can we always engage people? For example, bad black. Ritah, next time we organize this, can we call a person like bad black, ask her attitude, and she tells us her feel, so that we can make our judgments? Some people don't see what she submits, the negative things, the right to be a prostitute, the right to make sure you don't follow school rules and guidance from parents, but to go and look for money at whatever cost when you're a girl. TV stations that promote adverts where they can get for boys sugar mummies. I hand over, that's my simple questions.
Thank you very much. I think there was a hand here before we take. Kindly note your questions so that when we come back for the third round, that will be the last one, and then we go for a break.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. All protocols observed. My name is Thomas. I'm a teacher by profession. I have some few concerns here, though some of them have been tackled. The religious personnel talked about one, and that was the community outreach as far as this project is concerned, because we are here busy trying to educate people on domestic violence, but out there in the community, the society, most of them, they are not aware. So I think we should find ways of ensuring that these parents, the communities, just like you said, we can do that, or it can be done through churches, the markets, just like you said. I don't want to dwell so much on that. Then the other thing that I would love to suggest to the organization or to the committee, that is through Madam Regina, I think it would also be wise if we involve some of the cultural leaders in a gathering like this, because believe it or not, some of these violence happened as a result of some cultural practices. And it is very much severe outside there. Just like you hear some tribes in Uganda, the Sabine, the girls are being forced to go through some cultural practices. I'm very sure you know of it. And also other tribes, they have such a performance that they do to people that might torture them emotionally, physically, and some other ways. So I would suggest that in our next session, maybe, I don't know, we can also invite few, the cultural leaders, to also be very, very much important. Then the probation officer made mention earlier on that we should be able to trust in the victims. When victims come out with their claims that I was abused in such a way, but then it comes to me, I see that trusting in whoever comes forward with that case or with that cases might not be so right, because I've seen scenarios where I'm a teacher, just like I said. A girl child went on and reported a male teacher that this teacher tried to seduce her. Yes, but all these were lies. In the actual sense, they were all lies, but this one was a grown-up child who was still undergoing primary education, but maybe because of some...
Just pause there. You just said a grown-up child. A child is a child. Let's first pause there. A child is a child, and like she has said, believing the victim is the #1 priority, because let me not answer for probation officer.
Thank you for the correction. A child is a child, that's right. But then, when investigations were made upon the case, the child openly came out that she did it because she was influenced from home, just to gain the advantage of studying for free. Because I don't know what the parents told this child, that if you do such, we shall have a case with the school. I don't know how to discuss it, but the entire point here, at the end of the day, the case was not correct. So you will bear with me that in most cases, not everyone will come out, not everyone who comes out will always be speaking the truth. There are those ones who will just come out to nullify somebody. So we should also consider that. As far as we want to believe these are victims, but we should also be considerate to the ones being accused. Then I have a question. This one I would like to pose it to the religious personnel here, and probably, I think to all of them, but one of them can answer it, because it is a general question. We have had scenarios where a lady, this one is basically affecting ladies. Somebody goes looking for a job in an office, but then the boss comes in and says, before I give you this job, you must first give me some. Yes, that one has been something very serious, and up to now there is no solution. There is no way out of it, and our girls are still getting affected because of that. So I don't know how we can do about that, how we can get rid of that vice, because it is really tormenting our girls and even our men outside there. It has not happened to me. I don't know if it happened to any of these gentlemen here. Without wasting time, I'd like to stop there. If time reaches, maybe I'll come up with something else. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Too many good ideas. And I think I'll allow our panelists to respond to the questions, but just to be very clear, I think teachers should not put themselves in situations that you highlighted, because sometimes it is you've gotten to that situation. It's a key point you raise, but in the first place, you shouldn't be in that situation because you have the power over this child. So whether they are an adult child, you have power over them, but you should do better as a teacher not to get to that situation. I'll not answer the rest of the questions because they were not posed to me. I'll allow the panelists to respond. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Just first things first, our sister here, Gladys, who raised and would like to know more how best we can guide young people about health relationship and gender. The other one was about the teaching and the programs we have to address issues of gender-based violence. Is it right? You're okay then, run. One, with the teachings and the programs, the church, we have these programs which are not specifically intended to gender-based violence, but they are programs which are intended to creating information and awareness. One, as church, we always hold annual meetings and gatherings where we address different issues and topics. So through these programs, we invite more informed people, more so advocates of rights, advocates of any program we intend to have. Then we teach and inform these young people about their rights. What should they do? In case somebody's right has been violated, you have experienced an issue of violence, what is your first step? Who should you report to? Now, we as religious leaders, we avail ourselves that approach us because we realize that some of these children even fear to tell their parents. They even fear to tell the house helpers. So we avail ourselves. Therefore, such programs, meetings, annual meetings, they help us better to teach and train them. Number two, how can we guide? One is by making information accessible. This information can only be accessible through, remember nowadays, the world is becoming more digital. Children learn through drama. If we can have drama and skits which are trying to educate and inform about gender-based violence, how it is spread, how it comes through, somebody will be able to know. Therefore, if we have those drama videos, because children like to watch a lot, some of them may not be good at reading, but if we have young people, youth, women, men, and we provide reading materials and information to them, it can help them to understand and know better. If we had more so in this room, we would have gone with some material and other people know. So as church, it is our responsibility now. We come back, we partner with friends, and then we produce those reading materials. This helps them to get more informed and building confidence in them that if I experience any issue of gender-based violence, here is where I'll start from. I will report with confidence and give evidence that yes, I experienced this. And you realize that some people may fear to speak out. Therefore, how can we guide them? We can guide them through those flyers and drama videos. And then it helps to build their confidence, which in turn gives them information and they stand confidently to fight for their rights. Another one, our brother here was mentioning about issues of carpet interviews, things of the sort. Now, one, people have been brainwashed. Most people have been brainwashed that after you living in a university, there is no job out there. This is what you have to do for you to get the job. Now, our role comes in. You don't have to do a carpet interview for you to get a job. No. No way, no way. Government sets clear agenda. There is the Education Service Commission. Advertises jobs. You go for the pitch. You carry on the interview, either on merit or you are lucky, you get the job. Therefore, one, we need to educate our brothers and sisters because most of them have been intimidated. If you speak this out, I'll kill your future. If you speak this out, I will kill you. Now, most of them keep quiet. The vice keeps growing, the vice keeps growing, the vice keeps growing. Now, it's our responsibility, me and you who are in this room. Let's talk to our peers because we already know the problem. Now, the cause could be that this person went to university, did not attend class, doesn't know how to do work. I'll give you a favor if you give me this kind of interview. You will not go through the long processes. Someone else also fears to go for the interview because he or she knows he will fail. Now it goes back to all of us who are in this room. Let us talk to our peers, our friends, our colleagues. We build their confidence that one, if you go to the university, attend classes, do all coursework. That at the end, you will be informed. Once the job description comes through, falling into the line of your academic career, you will be able to pursue it and get success. Therefore, we need to talk to our peers. Number two, why is this growing? Stigma. How will a lady come through? He will share with the peers. How will she come to on a platform like this? Only those few. But there are many people down there who are experiencing this, who say, will they say that somebody slept with me? Then other person will come up and say, somebody slept with me because of fear for stigma. That's why this vice is growing. But then we call up people who are going through issues of the case. Come report them to police. Police will take them up and it will be. Now, another thing is also, this is rotating around lack of information and ignorance. Information and ignorance. People are less informed, they're ignorant.
That's
Why
true.
would you go for that? This is on merit. You don't have to go for a carpet interview for you to get a job. No. Government is fighting so hard to make all people who leave school to become job creators. That is why they also changed the curriculum to make people job creators, hands-on. Okay, somebody may say, no, I want you to give me a carpet interview. Don't go for it. Don't go for it. There are a lot of career opportunities in the courses university students take. There are a lot of career opportunities. Now for me, like in my course, I did journalism, I did MIME in my second degree. When you look into the list of career opportunities, one, if you don't work on radio, you can be a lecturer like me. If you're not a lecturer, you can be a public relations officer. If you're not a public relations officer, you can be a consultant. If you're not a consultant, you can be a writer. If you're not a writer, you can be an editor. Of all those career opportunities, you can explore them more. If somebody tells you, I need a carpet interview, say no to carpet interviews. That will help you better. And it will
Very, very powerful. Banango Bugalo. That is very, very powerful because...
okay, I'll leave the rest to, because someone was asking about the mechanisms of stopping the base violence, sexual harassment, and I wanted us to however, we are talking about gender-based violence, which falls under violence. But there is also another vice of sexual harassment, which is growing, and we are trying to drive it into gender-based violence. But sexual harassment, did you realize that even somebody coming to tap onto your shoulder without your permission is sexual harassment? Many people are not informed. Somebody sending you a message of intimacy That is sexual harassment. You know, so we need to inform the communities out there. People are silently dying. So we shall talk about this in our teachings, in our preachings. We inform these people that, you know, sexual harassment does not only, you know, it may come, people may think that sexual harassment only comes at the places of work. Did you realize that even when you are in your home, you can be sexually harassed, even when you are married? People don't understand. So we need to educate more of our people of this. Our brother talked of that you're in a happening place and somebody backs at you. Wait, Janguano, wait, what are you doing? Wait, Semberawano. He starts touching you. In schools we call them bad touches, but this time we shall call it harassment. One, this comes back to we as an individual. What are your values? What do you stand for as an individual? There are people who also go to those happening places and says, please, no, don't touch me. I do not want to touch me. But you will realize I was in an engagement. Remember, we were talking about violence, advocating for ending violence of children and women. Somebody came up and said, for me, I said, no. I lost my job. Stand for your values. If your no is a no, don't compromise to no yes. Now which is which? If you say no, it must stand no. There is a bright future ahead of you, because you will allow somebody to touch you, somebody there, you may not be married, somebody's looking up to you. I love this lady, I need to marry you. You're killing your future. You're killing and blocking your opportunities. Therefore, stand and say no to you. No, I'll not be the speaker of the day. The panel is so big, and I'll leave the rest to my friends.
Thank you very much. Just to inform the panelists that we have only 3 minutes to go. So if you're addressing an issue, just keep it to 1 minute for now, because the next agenda is a lot bigger as well. So, okay, I can see the need for movement. Okay. Let's have the probation officer respond to one question in a minute, and then we wrap it up.
Thank you. For Norman, what I said about trust, I meant that creating environment for that child to give you the right information you want. We call it a rapport. You create that environment where that child will tell you the truth. For me, I have a policy with my boys at home. When this trust comes in like this, we tell them when they find young girls around, especially with the neighbors, because what we talked about, I've ever seen it in court. A girl comes and claims that she was deferred by a certain boy to the neighborhood, just because they wanted to get money from that family. So, yes, so what we tell our boys, even if they are girls to the neighbors, just say hi and leave them. Don't go beyond that, because you know what can come after that. So, I just urge the parents here, let us openly speak to our children in homes. The neighbors are targeting other neighbors to get money, school fees, and other things. Thank you.
Thank you very much for keeping it short and precise.
Thank you very much, the parents of the girls and boys of rugby. If we are aware about homosexuality, yes, even in the Bible, the whole city of Sodom was burnt down because of homos. And any simple mechanisms, we have emphasized it calls you and me, because we live with it. In our first presentation, we said they are in the community. The enemy is with us. It's not far away from us. So the first government is the family. Can we go back to our roots? Can we have real families? Can we begin protecting children like Madam Ritah is saying, from the root, from the family? Can we fight this vice from the family before we get to the institutions, before we get to the professional ethics, before we get to the school rules or institutional rules and regulations, before we get to the, you said you have safeguarding principles, policies in the institutions, before government comes up. It starts with all of us. That's the only simple mechanism that we can use, to me, to fight gender-based violence, including homosexuality. I thank you.
Thank you very much for that precise response. Betty, do you have?
I just wanted to add something that she said, according to the simple, clear mechanism. In the Bible, we read that she trained up a child in the ways of God, so that when he or she grows up, she might not depart away from that. I'm not saying that people who have gone in the church don't do that, but at least we know as kids grow up and they become youth, there are some things that they cannot do because their parents told them not to do this and this. So it all zeroes to character. And then for him, these things of bosses asking for ladies, maybe I'll give you a job, it's not going to stop. So I think it depends on the person. If you refuse, will you die? You're still going to be alive. So it depends on someone's character and what you want for your future.
That was very spot on. You've handed me back this microphone, but I want us to quickly do a wrap-up. And in your wrap-up, I would like you to tell us, as your sector, in 30 seconds, what, in the next 3 months, what you're asking Swan Sports Club, Uganda Olympic Committee, Uganda Rugby Union, Olympic Solidarity, you're asking us to take these programs to the communities where we are. We may not have all the resources, we'll do our best with what we have, but what we are saying is, as sectors sitting on this panel, what are your commitments in the next 3 months as a sector? What do you commit to do in the next 3 months so we can follow up based on the commitments you've made today?
Okay, for me as a coach, I'm going to engage my fellow coaches. I'm going to share this knowledge with other coaches because, to be honest, most of our coaches do not know about this information. And also, I'm going to try and talk to my association. Indeed, to be truthful, we don't have safeguarding policies. And a lot is happening, and it's still going to happen. So I'm going to try and put it into practice, whatever that I've learned here and everything. I'm going to try and put it in practice and also have a network with the other people so that at least we have somewhere to start from.
Thank you very much. In our structures, we hold our general assemblies, D.E.O's head teachers meeting, where we communicate policy and guidelines for the year and the term. So in our upcoming engagements with head teachers, we normally do an annual circular. And even if I had a copy here, we have talked about homosexuality. And now I realize we should talk about gender-based violence in our annual circular for all schools to guide. We interact with the parents and all teachers here and my department. As we interact with the parents, we remind and emphasize gender-based violence. Number 3, we are protectors. It begins with me and then you. So I do my part and you also do your part. Thank
you. To me, as a probation officer, I will continue protecting the vulnerable children. I will continue investigating the welfare of the children. I will continue counseling and talking to the parents. As parents, you know, children look at the behavior of their children to manage their emotions and behave well in society.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really want to thank everyone who has been part of this discussion. I know it was such a good discussion, all of us, and to our communities out there. 1, as church, we shall keep pushing on this campaign. Pushing on this campaign of sensitizing, teaching people and supporting them towards the issues of gender-based violence, and they can know more and become informed on how it comes, how it is stopped, and how we can move on in case it has happened through supports. Now, when you look into the Bible, Genesis chapter 1, verse 27 says that we are all created in the image of God. We need to talk about equality. We shouldn't treat others as though they're not important to us. Today you don't need me, tomorrow you will need me. So if you treated me bad, I may not be of help to you. But we need to preach that let us all treat others in an equal state. Don't disregard anyone regardless of their gender, regardless of their ideology, regardless of their emotions. Let's bring everyone together because we are all created in the image of God. I wish you the best of your time. and really learn, because you've been a good audience to us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much to our dear panelists. I think they deserve a bigger round of applause. You have been very amazing. You can now step away from the podium and from the platform and take your seats. At this particular moment, please allow me to announce that lunch will be ready in 10 minutes. So before we break off for lunch, I would like to just bring us together to say, as community leaders, this engagement is meant to help us understand that safeguarding is a shared responsibility. All of us have a role to play. Each one of us, in whatever capacity you are sitting here today, has a role to play, and we cannot act alone. We have to act together, but everybody has to put their hand up to do the right thing. When we come back from lunch, we are going to get into group discussions, and after that, there's a lot to be discussed. There's a lot to be dissected. It's just the beginning. We're going to break off for lunch, and when we come back, it's a lot more to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Thank you so much.